This is a regular meeting of the Bethany Board of Town of Bethany Board of Finance on April 9th, 2024 at 6:37 p.m. And we have Sally Heiser, John Grabowski, Martha Azarisi, and me, Sharon Huxley. I'm the chair. In addition, we have our finance director, our first selectman, Felico Francesco, and Lauren Cable, our clerk for the meeting. Do we have anyone on Zoom?
Yes, we not board members, but we
Not
have
board
Linda
members.
Tobin and Jen Capassa as visitors.
Okay, we just have visitors.
Correct. No
We
one,
don't have
no
any
one has
members.
logged in yet.
So welcome visitors. Okay, the first thing on our agenda is a review of the minutes of the March 23rd regular meeting. And I'm just, let's see. I was there, Martha was there, Sally was there, and John was there. Okay, so we do have a quorum of people who were in attendance at the meeting, and if someone would like to make a motion and a second, then we can discuss them.
Make a motion to accept the meeting or
Approve.
approve the meeting. I'll make a
Minute.
motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Second. So any discussion? Anyone? Hearing none, all in favor of approving and accepting the minutes as distributed, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. The next item is the finance director's report. Some of this is going to be very short. Some of it is going to be not so short.
Correct. There's, as always, I have given you lots of numbers. There's 3 sets in the packet that you had a chance to review. The detailed, the departmental numbers, which takes you through each department with where they stand. The overall revenue and expenses, followed by an ARPA report. Does anyone have questions on any of the numbers?
The only question that I think, or yes, I guess, I think people might be interested in is knowing where we stand. You have given us how much has been used in each one, but when we get to the end, it looks like we have $7 million, and I know we don't.
Oh, on the income and expense?
Yeah.
That's showing that our net income is that we have a surplus of $6 million. The net income of 6 million, which would be a surplus.
Am I on the wrong page?
Oh, you're in the detailed expenditure on the departmental.
Yes, that's the one I'm looking for.
Oh, you're looking at the departmental first? Okay.
Well,
No,
it was just a question.
A question of what that means?
No, just what do we expect to be expended?
What do we expect to be expended? It's easier for me to give you a total number that is expected to be expended for the year.
Okay. All right.
Which is $25,979,898 of our original budget of $26,280,613.
Okay. So we're pretty close
Yes.
so far. Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to get a feel for whether there was maybe some major thing out there. And the only one is the Amity not, that hasn't been expended. That won't be.
Well, actually, most of the Amity line will be expended this year. Because we shorted the appropriation.
Mhm. And then they didn't, that's right.
And then we
they-
did not have the encumbrance
Mhm.
of what we shorted for this year.
So
so-
it
okay,
won't
so-
be expended. There's
No,
that
no.
last payment won't be expended.
So the budget figure of the 9120,382 for Amity included,
Isn't that last year's? year's
No,
end?
this is this year's budget.
Okay.
This year's budget for Amity.
Mhm.
The budgeted dollar amount reflects what we did not spend last year of $198,000.
Mhm.
However, that money was originally listed as an encumbrance for this year,
Mhm.
but I had to back it
That's-
out.
That's right.
So that number is probably high by about
That much?
$40,000
Oh.
only.
Mhm. Okay.
Because this year's short payment was $242,000.
James just come back in.
Okay.
So there will not be a lot of unspent money on the Amity line this year like there was last year.
Okay. Good. Anybody else with questions? Okay, anything you wanted? Do you have comments about the ARPA?
Well, I think would be,
Well,
it would make more sense to make my comments on ARPA when we move on to the
Yep.
next line, which is
Yep.
the transfers.
Okay.
All right, there's transfer requests for the general fund. For $28,137.38. It's moving money from contingency to 4 different line items in the budget: the town audit, the harvest festival, the fire department for purchasing new PFAS-free foam. And then one for emergency management to actually pay to have the foam removed from the fire trucks. All of which Rich had explained to us when he presented his budget for next year. So total is $28,000. And there's also a correction that I have listed there. On 215, we had approved a transfer from contingency to the Council of Small Towns. But I had read the wrong line in the budget and it actually needs to go to Scrog.
Mhm.
So I'm just putting it here to make you aware that it is not cost at Scrog where that money actually needed to go to. And I have attached the quotes behind it for the purchase of the foam and the Clean Harbor quote to clean out the foam from the trucks as they are right now.
And these are certified contractors with the state, right?
Yes, the Clean Harbors is certified contractor with the state. They are also on the DEEP approved list for reimbursement. There is a possibility that we could have that $10,000 reimbursed by the state because it's a state mandate to clean it up. But it's one of those, stay tuned. Because the money's available until it's gone. And I don't know how many other towns and fire departments have already, tapped the state for funds.
So
Which-
the sooner they get this done, the better,
Correct.
the greater the likelihood.
Yes.
Maybe somewhere. Okay. Do you have a draft motion on those or do you want to?
No, I did not make a draft. I did not make a draft motion for the transfers. I'm sorry.
Would somebody like to make a motion to execute the transfers recommended by the finance director from contingency and the transfer from cost to Scrub? The page, it's way, oh. It's after that.
It's
Might
actually
be
before that.
this
It's
is
before that.
it's Before that, so. There. it's-
I'll make a motion.
Okay, and that's on which page, which item number is it up in the corner?
Item 3A.2.
Okay, item 3A.2. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Discussion?
I would like a clarification on the motion. It's general fund transfers only for this one.
I thought it was.
It's from contingency to other accounts, but it is the general
Oh,
fund
yes,
transfers.
Yeah, none of these are capital.
Yeah.
All right, I think that we pretty much discussed all of these at previous meeting. Mm. All right, hearing no comments, those in favor? Valid? Okay, right, so. Everybody, I've lost me. I need to put more things in here. All right, next.
Next, would be transfers within the capital reserve fund. I have gone through all of the open items from the fiscal year 23 audit. I have reviewed all the accounts. I have spoken to department heads, entities, everyone involved that could have had anything to do with the projects as that are listed on the left side.
This one. This one.
And I am proposing what is in it says highlighted column, internal transfers.
Where's that?
Yeah, you might be
Right after the clean
about
houses.
5 or 6 pages from the back. It's labeled item 3A2 capital reserve.
So that's on page.
Any line item, any project description that has a number in the internal transfer column, that project is complete. And I'm just looking to clean it up to shorten this list. The projects are finished, so there is no reason to keep the money sitting there as a balance for a project that we're done with.
And then that releases those funds into capital reserve, so they can be repurposed.
Yes. That's what it would be doing.
Did you draft a motion or would you like me to suggest one?
I would ask that you suggest one.
I would request a motion to approve the required internal transfers to close out completed capital projects to capital reserve with a it's the 236 are the transfers, right?
Mhm.
And the total amount of the transfers, the 236,572 would be added to capital reserve.
All second. Did you make a motion?
No, I was asking for a
Oh.
motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion. Does everybody understand what we're doing? Yeah, these are all things that have been approved in the past and funded, and they're long done, or
Some
not
of
so.
them are long, could be
Yeah,
long
some of
done.
them. Okay. Hearing no comments or questions, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yes,
I said aye.
okay, sorry.
Next time I'll say aye.
Okay. The next item?
The next item is
ARPA status.
is very similar to that. I'm looking to clean up and close out completed ARPA projects, releasing what could have been encumbered or just available on some project lines to available for reallocation for other projects. The total amount, I mean, so it cleans up a lot of items, which makes what is available. Last month, we had a TBD of like $9,000. It makes the amount available for allocation $19,300.64. It leaves open, it would only leave open the Vet Park Lodge Light and Acoustics, because there's a few small items that I don't know have cleared the finance office as far as the invoices are concerned. It leaves software. It leaves recreation access. And it also leaves funds that were earmarked for the Bethany Historical Society. But it cleans up everything else that is finished.
Where is the other land trust? Ah, there it is. Okay.
Yes,
This is an informational item, essentially, because we are about to have additional ARPA requests.
well, I mean, I would like the approval to clean out. I mean, it is an internal clean out, but it does transfer money to available
Yeah, true.
from encumbered
Mhm.
and project line, so it does make it now available for other items.
So we would be looking for a motion to transfer encumbered ARPA funds from completed projects to make those funds available for additional projects. Could I have a motion for that effect?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Discussion, everybody understand how it's going on? Okay. Questions? And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Budget.
Do you want it? Just,
Do we want to move that?
yes, I was gonna suggest that we move that to after the discussion of grants, just because.
Okay,
have a
we can do that.
People who might be.
Make a motion to.
Yes, yes. Could I have a motion to adjust the agenda to deal with grant requests now before the budget?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay.
So.
All right, we're all good. Go.
Are we gonna, did we vote on that? No.
Yes, we all, well, we did. We all just went, yeah.
All right, so we will move on to grants. First up is Chuck with the land trust.
Thank you, Ms. Galupi. For the record, I'm Chuck Oman. I'm the Vice President of the Bethany Land Trust. And I'm here because Leslie was kind enough to advise me that there are funds available to the land trust that were previously allocated but not used for survey and appraisal work, for which you kindly awarded us ARPA funding. And I'm understanding that sum is $1,177. That is available to us, that has not been used from that original grant. Leslie said that I can ask for a property reassignment. What I'm about to ask you for is not technically a property reassignment, but it is for a different expense on a property which we are about to acquire at 89 Russell Road. We did not ask for any money previously for a survey of that property. And currently pending is a mapping of that property by our surveyors, Clark Surveying. They've given us an estimate of $5,600 to do the work. I suspect it may turn out to be more because we also would like some boundary marking after walking the property with them. I should point out that we did receive from the Connecticut Land Conservation Council a grant of $2,800 to help us with this expense, but the rest would have to come from our own treasury. So I'm asking that you please permit us to utilize this $1,177 for the survey, which is pending on our acquisition at 89 Russell Road.
Is that all you're asking for?
Well, at this time, that's all I came prepared to this meeting to ask for. My understanding from reading this report is that there's $9,231 available that has not been yet
Actually,
allocated.
there's now 19.
19, that's right, 19,000. And from previous discussions, I understand that that may no longer be available come September 30th of this year.
Well, it needs to be at least encumbered by December.
Okay,
I'm sorry, what I was expecting was that you would ask us to help you with the entire surveying bill less what you already have a grant for.
well, then I'll amend my request. Done this before with you, and thank you, Chairman. I'll amend my request, and what I will request is that you award us a $2,800 grant in ARPA funding to cover the unreimbursed expense of the $5,600 survey.
All right, does that include the 1177 or is that in addition to the
That's
1177?
in addition to the 1177, so you'd have to subtract that from $2,800.
Okay,
All right, so you're looking to repurpose the 1177 and an additional 1623 for a total of 2,800.
That's right.
Oh,
Okay.
all right, gotcha.
Okay,
All right, would somebody like to make that motion? We did this for the Historical Society last. Make one. Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Okay. We did something similar last month for the last month or the month before? For the Historical Society.
For the paving.
I could go back.
This past month?
It
Oh,
was
for
for the
that
septic
one?
system.
Yeah.
That was
Mhm.
last month,
Yeah.
right?
It was
Yeah.
this month.
Yes. Okay. All right, comments, anybody? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
No? Yes? Maybe?
Aye, aye.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't hear you.
You might have to do aye, aye, aye.
Scott.
It was probably a chorus. Okay. All right, thank you. Okay.
okay. All right, next, about, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago, Dave had given us a proposal for dash and body cams, which was extremely expensive, which was about 70,000, which was close to $70,000, and it had a 5-year contract with it. It was more of a lease purchase as to an outright purchase. I told him to go get another quote, and he did. Telrepco has given him a quote. This would be for Panasonic equipment. And that quote has come in just a shade under $34,000, which is more in line with the original 35,000 that had been earmarked in the very beginning of the ARPA money for police dash and body cams. So to that, I do actually have a resolution for that. That the board, I resolve that the Board of Finance recommends up to the $35,000 for the purchase of police body and dash cams from Telrepco and forward said project to the annual meeting for town approval since it is over $20,000.
So, the motion,
I'll make a motion.
okay, second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All right. So what happened is back before ARPA funds had to go to a town meeting if they met the town's criteria. This 35,000 was set aside because it was an appropriate project, and that's all you had to do at the time. But rather than just go, oh, well, that's what we set aside, so that's what we're gonna do because it's over 20,000. We should send it to the town meeting, even though it'll be paid out of ARPA funds and those funds had already been set aside.
It's just like a final approval.
Well, just, well, yes.
Okay.
The thing is that the ARPA rules have changed because originally we could just said, well, it wasn't even us, because we weren't even meeting at the time. ARPA funds could just be spent. But then in some other locations, lots of ARPA funds are spent
On
on,
vacations.
well, on others inappropriate stuff, that's, okay. So anybody with questions, this is still in under the dollar limit that had originally been set, and they're on the state bid list again, right? Or whatever it is, they're on the police.
They
bid list or something.
are, and I know I had done a little digging with other towns that had purchased dash cams, body cams and that for their police departments, where they went out they put out an RFP for competitive bids because they were talking larger police staffs. We're talking like 20+ officers and cars. Almost every single one of the RFPs came back with the Panasonic cameras being the most cost effective and the most user friendly for the officers.
That's good.
So that's why I feel confident with this proposal.
I,
Okay, all right, so that one goes forward to the town meeting.
Alright. I gotta go back to see which one is next. All right, a request from the fire department. Hi, Katie.
Hello, let the record show that Katie Erickson has joined us. Have you gotten to sleep yet? That's the packet down by Sally, and this is.
all this,
Just one of them.
One of them.
you can have all of
No,
them.
no, no. It's,
Good.
we are.
We're talking ARPA projects, which are towards the back of the packet. Okay. The air conditioning unit in the building at the fire tower has quit. That is where where the fire department houses its communication equipment, which has to be kept at a constant temperature. So they have a proposal before us for a new mini split, which would take care of heating and cooling that little building that houses all the communications equipment for about $8,200. I would propose that we approve up to 9,000 in the event there's some installation costs that are not part of the original quote. For the purpose of installing the heat pump system in the fire tower building for the communications equipment so that the communications equipment does not fail. It would be ARPA funds.
What's the balance of the ARPA account? How much?
Okay,
Did you get that already?
we did, but it's in here. If you go back, Katie, go back, to the transfer, there's a transfer page. It is after Clean Harbors. It's 3A2 ARPA. It shows that right now there is $19,300 available. Having said that, the projects I'm proposing tonight were already put in the allocated line. That was taken out before that 19,000. They're towards the bottom, the three for tonight. And it still leaves the 19,000 all the way on the right that we can allocate.
It obviously comes under the ARPA criteria.
It does.
It is well under the $20,000 requirement to go to the town meeting. Did you draft a motion on this?
Yes,
one?
there is a motion. That would be, it's in the packet. It says there's a resolution, there's ARPA resolutions as part of the packet.
Oh, okay, clear. Sorry. So we're looking at just A3. Okay, so the draft motion is resolved that the Board of Finance approves up to $9,000 for the purpose of installing a heat pump system in the fire tower building for the fire department's communication equipment. Would someone like to move this? Okay, do I have a second?
Yeah.
All right, discussion.
So the one that they have now is not working? It needs to be
It's
replaced?
died. It doesn't work. They have put a temporarily, they have a window unit air conditioner in that portion to keep it cool.
Was there any other HVAC, like, this wasn't on our forecast, I'm just curious why.
No, it was not.
It's an equipment failure. Mhm. Anything else?
And the hotspot repeaters are,
That will be coming up.
Coming up
okay, I haven't gotten there yet. All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
That one, that's approved. Okay, so the next one is about the hotspot.
Yes, it is. The
Repeaters?
next one is about the hotspot repeaters. It is a request from the emergency management director. For two wireless, for two repeaters, because he said that there are sections of town where the Wi-Fi just drops off, it fails, and he said it is a problem when they are out on ambulance calls because they fill out a report and they cannot hit submit for it because they have lost the Wi-Fi connection. So he would like to have the repeaters available that they can be carried in the ambulance, but also so that should there be a larger town outage, the repeaters would allow him to piggyback off of the cell towers better than any other device that we have at the moment. The range is larger that he can get to those towers for service in the event of a larger townwide disaster.
And you have a,
Yes, this is the second resolution.
we skipped one. So we skipped one.
It's there. They're all on one page.
They're, there. Okay. So the proposed resolution is resolved that the Board of Finance approves up to $5,100 for the purpose of two hotspot repeaters for emergency management director to be used in emergency situations and to be available for use on EMS calls. Somebody like to move that? Okay. You know, until he asked for this, I had no idea that we had a potential communications problem. You know, that's kind of scary.
It's probably the same one that the fire department had a bunch of years back. They were in certain areas, they couldn't communicate.
But they got a whole new huge.
Now they do, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, it's probably a similar problem.
Any concerns? Then all in favor
I just
of,
have a question, how often does it have to get replaced, like, is this a yearly expense, like, what are we
this is the
adding?
first?
Yeah, I know, but going
Yeah,
forward,
I don't know.
presumably.
I'm not sure how often it would need to be replaced. It's not a yearly expense. It is not a yearly expense. That I know it's to purchase them out,
Sure,
purchasing them outright. I'm not sure.
So once we purchase them, there's no additional expense.
Probably until they fail. I mean, you know, I'm not being,
No, but I
So,
mean, there's no
yes.
maintenance or monthly fee or anything like that.
Not that we were, not that we were informed.
all in favor of the motion, say aye.
I,
I think that was everything.
Right. There is one other resolution on the ARPA project page. There is no backup attached with it at the moment, and the reason for that is this was one of the items that Rich had brought to the Board of Finance with his budget proposal, where he said that he wanted smaller handheld gas meters. He said that they needed to replace 4 of them. And instead of putting them in the budget, he was looking for it as a capital item, but it doesn't meet the capital threshold. We had discussed during the budget workshops that this would fall under the ARPA guidelines because it is, you know, emergency safety. So I would propose that we use ARPA money for the purchase of those handheld gas meters.
So the draft resolution is resolved that the Board of Finance approves up to $2,500 for the purpose of handheld gas meters for the fire department.
I'll move that.
Thank you.
It's okay.
Second. Discussion. Okay, then,
Is this another thing that they have to replace periodically?
yes, they're replacing. some.
Yes.
They are replacing them, and if I recall correctly, he said what they have is over 15 years old.
That may be the thermal cameras.
Well, the one thing, the two, he was talking about the gas meters and the thermal cameras. One was 15 years old and the other could have been more like 20 or 25 years old. I don't recall. I mean, I know that one of the two was 15 years old.
I'll move.
Anybody, any other questions or concerns? Okay, then all in favor?
I,
All right, that is all of the office. Yes,
That is all of the ARPAs.
okay. Yes,
All right, so where do we want to go next? We want to go back to the budget or do we want to continue on?
well, the remainder of your grant things,
Mhm.
they are literally one sentence things. Do you want to just read those into the record? And then we'll be done with them? And-
Sure. The second steep grant, which is on this is labeled steep 24. We're waiting for the final architectural drawings so that that can go out to bid. The gym, the work is well underway, which is why the budget hearing and the town meeting are next door at the school. The HUD grant work is underway. We have completed some items, but we're working that project by project because of the reimbursement on it. We are going to rework when we receive the new guidelines for the trip grant to resubmit Round Hill Road. As of right now, that is the intent to review the new guidelines to find out if it will qualify and if we can submit it. There's a grant application due next week. That we have been from the feds, the senator, our state senators. No, our senators that represent us at the federal level have come to us and stated that there is grant money available. The applications are due on the 14th. At this time, the only project that we have that could be considered somewhat shovel-ready to submit would be a resubmission of last year's for the lodge, which would be to make it an emergency shelter for the town. The one piece that has to be adjusted to last year's application is we need to include a sprinkler system, because in order for any facility to be an emergency shelter, it must have sprinklers. So Don was in the process of getting additional quotes for that. So what we will need to do is we will need to revisit
No
Katie's suggestion
way.
to have a grant committee so that there are other projects in the drawer that we can look to for grants. There is, I mean, the opportunities for grants could be endless, but yet they can be finite, because you never know what the criteria are for anything that come through. But we do need to have a set committee for work that we have additional projects. And knowing that is going to take upfront money to have projects ready.
And some
So-
grants are one time, some grants are every year.
Some of them have a week. sometimes.
Right, some, yeah, you never know how long you have to complete the application to turn it in, but we do need to have projects in the drawer.
Mhm.
So. We need to come up with some names of people that would be willing, and that you think, I mean, we need community buy-in for it. We need board and committee buy-in. So just let's put the thinking caps on and start thinking about how we can move forward with that idea.
Let's put that near the top of the agenda next month.
Okay.
To discuss, because by then, oh, that'll be the week before the
Yeah.
town meeting, right? But that would be good timing, because then you could
Yes, it will be.
make requests or
I mean, is there
discuss
like,
at the town meeting.
the application that you're putting forward for this emergency shelter
Mhm.
over on Route 42, I mean, it seems like not the best spot for an emergency shelter for the community to go down
But
illegally.
there've been instances where the town has been cut off. So people on that side of town, if they had to, would have some place to go. When we had the tornado, there were certain roads that were blocked off and people could not get anywhere. So we have to have some options as to where we can send people if there's a problem.
So you're saying, just so I'm summarizing, that the choice to put it there is a strategic decision based to support a fraction of the town, and there's another strategic decision to support other folks. I mean, like, I think it just worked out that way, you know what I mean? Like,
Now, what's
it's a
happened,
windy road with tons of trees and
Yeah.
it's up a hill, and we just happen to have a building there, so we're like.
well, but that
oh,
is it, because it's a building that needed renovations and.
so
and
let's
they-
call it what it is,
It was,
right?
it was
You know?
halfway through making a plan, but and of course, there were 2 weeks to possibly put something together. But also this time, those,
There was 2 weeks a year ago.
they have to, yes, but at least this one it's hanging out there, but this time, I think it's all going to like Homeland Security type projects. Like that, there was something to the effect that was pretty much all they wanted to hear about were things that were essentially emergency management of
What's the
different. kinds.
criteria for an emergency shelter? I mean,
Well,
would you need
apparently-
showers?
Yes.
You need,
Mhm.
Yes,
And generators.
yeah,
the proposal for the lodge would be to expand, there would be a small expansion to it, which would include showers, cot storage. There would be a generator added to the building, sprinkler system. But one of the
purchase of.
And
cots.
what's the occupancy of that building?
I personally am not sure.
It wouldn't be terrific, but we don't have anything else with sprinklers. I mean, we don't. Anything. I'm just saying, sprinklers are the huge expense here that we could never have anything.
Because
without
town hall
sprinklers.
itself would not qualify for an emergency shelter, because there isn't a sprinkler system in this building or showers.
Or showers,
So they would be adding all of that to the lodge. And there is a section of the town that the lodge is ideal from a strategic standpoint is if the dam were to break, the trailer park is in serious trouble.
Oh, the dam up above them.
Yeah.
Okay. Not the one at Betts Park.
No, not
So I
the,
thought
no,
so.
no.
The beavers.
No.
I think the beavers would be in trouble.
I don't know. I just feel like this is so reactive. You're just slapping public need, local meeting space, for public need on every single grant proposal. Instead of thinking strategically about how we want to lay out this community, how do we want to support these people? What's the most effective way? Instead of saying, hey, we got a building here, maybe we have to we're just gonna put a sprinkler system in order to get an upgrade of the facility. I mean, grant money is great, and I think it's good that you're doing it. It's just, I don't see a strategic vision. I don't see any of that. I really don't. And then what's the scope? Remind me of the gym again. They're working on it. So what's gonna be in and what's gonna be out? Like,
What do you mean in and out?
like, well, is there gonna be, audio visual
Yes.
equipment? What's that
We
gonna
will
be
be,
like?
we will be able to live stream meetings when the gym is finished.
When we're done with the meeting, if you want, we can go down, you can take a peek in to see what they've done so far.
Okay, so,
There-
thank you. So the
there
live
is-
stream, but there's no way to have.
There's no way to have hybrid voting.
Okay,
Because back when we were first talking about it, that one thing is a real problem for the registrars in terms of validating people online. And at the time that we were first looking at doing this, actually, I asked Catherine to look into whether there was any software out there, and at the time, she said she did not think so, and I suspect it's time to ask again, but
but there could be feedback, live stream feedback with the community, like people could respond, there could, you know what I
but you
mean? Like,
can't vote on things.
Okay.
Which is
Yeah.
huge for a town meeting,
Yeah.
if you want to.
but at the budget hearing, for example,
Oh, no, the
Some-
budget hearing,
someone could have.
we weren't in our space.
I know, but you're
Next
saying in next one is down the budget hearing.
We
be
know
live
we can
streamed.
live stream. We're still working with the AV people
Okay,
to find out how if the interactive portion will work as well with the live stream. It's all on the table and being negotiated and being worked on right now, but live streaming is a definite go with the gym when it is finished.
It's
And
not
this
hybrid
room.
It is.
And this room.
And we're gonna have accommodations for when we have meetings down there for people who are hard of hearing. So that they'll have headsets that they can hear, easily without any distraction or echoes or whatever, because we had a couple of people up there last week that were having a hard time hearing. So that's gonna be one of the things we're gonna have as part of the project, is to be able to have accommodation for the people that are having a hard time.
It will also have air conditioning. New heat and air conditioning. It's
I
all,
know that's.
it's all part of the renovation.
New curtains and staging.
New
All that
floor.
old peeled wood is gonna be pulled down and it's gonna be redone and painted, and so it looks so much different. We've pulled all of the venting that's been up on the walls. That's all down now.
I'm mainly concerned about having audiovisual capabilities that the town has been asking for, including myself, since COVID.
We've been We're just
We
waiting.
will.
So
When
that's
we
a
are
promise that
finished,
we've
when
been-
we are finished with the Cabrera grant money for the gym and the Deloro grant money, which is a HUD grant money. When we are finished with those two projects, we will have streaming capability in this room and the gym for all meetings.
Without having to run wires on the owl. Across the table and up the wall.
So we will have that.
Streaming.
Yes.
Streaming is not hybrid. Some people think that they are synonymous.
No.
No, I don't think anyone does. I just think everyone's
Oh.
gonna be disappointed when they find out that they can watch a meeting at home, that they can't participate in it in any way.
Well,
I
they
would
can-
be. Right?
I can't have everything. That we knew that going in because there is no capability for town meetings, for meetings where you need to validate who's online.
And if you recall, when we did attempt down in the gym to do that meeting hybrid, it did not go well because people couldn't hear. We didn't know who was trying to ask
Usually.
questions, that it was sort of disastrous because the people at home were frustrated because we couldn't hear them. They couldn't hear us because it wasn't close enough to the owl because the gym is so big.
Right.
See, in a room like this, it's
No,
right
no, no,
there, you know?
I totally
yeah.
understand. All I'm saying is we had a problem many years ago and our solution is that people from home can't ask questions or, you know what I mean? Like it's. Yeah.
I will make a note that we can go back to the two technology companies that we have spoken to on that to see if what our options are for that.
Because we're not that far.
Because, no, because
road
that
on
will
that
be
one.
because all the physical changes and improvements will be done before that goes in. We will do the wiring as we're doing everything else, but those will be towards the end of actual install. So that there's no chance of damage as other work is being done. I will have Don follow up to find out where we stand on hybrid with the live stream.
It's probably worth asking Catherine again to
Mhm.
take a look because we're a couple of years down the road and possibly
Okay,
things have
I will,
changed.
I will reach out to her the next time she's in the building.
All right, well,
All right.
we're finished with that part then.
Mhm.
What else? Okay, let's go back to the budget. Okay. So, everyone has, we had a meeting, we had a budget hearing. And and our clerk Jen took very detailed notes. You see, that's legal draft. And at that meeting, we had a lot of comments about the dollar amount. Nobody mentioned anything about the mill rate. I thought that was kind of interesting, but
Well, I think so the property taxes were reassessed
I don't know. But
yeah, you're right.
The one
Uh,
slide we didn't have, I don't think, I got there a little late, was, we always used to have a slide that with this mill rate, if your house is valued at whatever, this is how much your taxes is. And with the new mill rate,
we haven't had that.
Janet always did that.
Yeah, I did it once.
And yeah, you always did it. The
The
average house, say the average
I got from her,
homeowners,
didn't have that.
300,000. Then at the old mill rate, your taxes would be blah, blah, blah. And now with this budget, with the new mill rate,
Mhm.
and in this year, the new evaluation, your house, your taxes would be blah, blah, blah. They didn't get that, so I'm not sure that anyone really thought about what the new mill rate was going to do for them, other than the fact that
That-
they saw the budget go up so high and their value go up so high.
We didn't have the actual grand list
Mhm.
until Monday. Right? Tuesday that she gave us verified the grand list along with all the adjustments, abatements and exemptions and so on. So that we hadn't annoyed at all was
Right.
serendipity, but
But I'm just saying
usually
that,
we
you
don't have
know,
it for the.
most
budget
people
hearing.
I don't think can say, oh, well, you know, I paid X amount of taxes last year, and now my house has gone up 30%. They're not looking and saying, oh, but the mill rate went, you know, they're proposing a mill rate adjustment down at so much percent, so I'm okay. People aren't looking at that. I don't think. I think they're looking at, this is the higher budget,
Mhm.
therefore my taxes are gonna go up.
Mm.
And that's all they're
The money's
seeing.
coming from somewhere, so.
Yeah.
And there was.
So, I mean, and that's
This is
just
fun.
my opinion. I'm not trying to
No,
criticize anyone or whatever. I'm just saying, I think,
it did not occur to me that because of the reval that something like that would be appropriate. And in the prior ones that I looked at, there was not a comparison like that. And we didn't know what one mill was. Now we know. Yeah, in terms of your assessment. So, but we didn't know. So I'm sorry, it did not occur to me to do that. So, and I can promise you, I will not be doing this job the next time there's a revaluation. Not because of that. But that's 10 years from now. Okay,
Did you, yeah, I received several emails today from residents that I had included, but there's copies there for everyone on that.
That's what we have at the top.
Does anyone else want one?
I think.
I have the email.
Do you have the email?
I have no email. Yeah, okay, so, but at the hearing, there was only one request for an increase, okay, so, and that was to put in a line for the historical society. So, so everything
I
else
just
is.
want to add one thing. If we consider that request, it would only be if we we're gonna bundle that with the trash services, right? Like
Recycling.
with the recycling.
Well, it would not be appropriate if we weren't going to recycle,
Curbside, I totally agree, yes.
because the issue would be.
Yes, percent.
Mhm, mhm. Okay.
So, I mean, the consensus on the emails that I received were that we should reevaluate what we have presented. It's too much.
Okay.
Mhm.
We need to make some cuts. Because we're just asking too much of the residents. Um. The overwhelming majority of the individuals at the town, at the budget hearing and the emails that I received are asking for us to take Round Hill Road out of the budget. Since there is still a possibility of grant funds for it. And there's some questions as to whether or not the road needs to be widened
Or would be allowed
Redone.
To be.
or, repaved, There's lots of questions surrounding and lots of discussions surrounding Round Hill Road. So, I reworked every department budget. There is some room in some budgets, but there is very little room in most budgets. Because most of the departments came to us, as you know, with flat rates. They were not changing much. The only change that they were proposing was where they were contractually obligated to make changes because they know that their software is going up 30% next year, or they know that what we budgeted this year was not sufficient. So the department heads did a very good job at holding the line and keeping their budgets within reason. We were only we were only proposing a modest 2.5% pay raise across the board. The Public Works union contract mandates that we give them a 2.5% raise with the next budget year. So with the help of Sharon, we took some of the suggestions that were given to us at the budget hearing. Most of the work that we had done on the budget was done prior to my receiving the emails, because they only came in today, and we worked on Friday, we worked on Monday, and we worked again today. So I have a revised budget option.
Well, what are the, what do we want to talk as a, okay, sorry, I'll let you.
Revised budget option takes into account what we were asked. What the residents feel was, what I interpreted from the field. Which the budget that I've given you
That's okay, that's okay.
takes out Round Hill Road. Sure. It makes adjustments to medical insurance. It makes adjustments in Public Works to overtime, gas, and diesel. Towards the back of the proposal, it's this one. There is a summary of changes. It takes $597,000 out of the budget on expenses. It does add additional income. I discussed with the town treasurer, and she moved a large sum of money that we had sitting in a bank high yield interest account to stiff. The stiff rate is twice what the bank is paying us. That move alone will double the original estimation on interest income for next year. So the original budget had $150,000 in it for interest income. I have moved it to 300 because of that move. And we did increase the expense to reflect the practice of the town for having constables and Public Works available for the Harvest Festival. And we made a token increase in the revenue line for them. We moved the expense line to 25,000, and the income was originally held firm at the 17,000. We moved that up slightly to the 18,500. It will decrease, because we have decreased expenses, it will decrease the dollar amount we will receive in pilot money from the water authority.
This says lower mill rate. Is that supposed to say mill rate again?
Lower expenses?
The fourth item down.
No, the fourth item down is correct. It is a lower mill rate. When you decrease the expenses, the mill rate will go down. There was an original error on it. The property taxes go down because the expenses go down. But the water authority is a dollar for dollar reimbursement at the mill rate. So the original budget was put together with an assumed mill rate of, say, 30. And if the new mill rate is 29, that's a 1 mil loss of revenue from the water authority, which had to be backed out. So that's why that revenue line goes down. What that does to the overall budget is it takes it from the original proposal. Oh, I don't even have one of those with me.
Oh. The original budget?
Yeah, the original,
Is that the one from the meet?
yeah, that page is not in the stack of papers I have. Oh, I'll take it. Thank you. I'm like, why is it not here?
Because so many of the others look just like it.
So the original proposal was a 4.41% increase, overall increase. The new proposal is 2.13.
So the recycling and everything stays in.
Yes. The commingled curbside pickup stays in. The trash and the commingled recycling pickup stays in this budget as presented with the
When you say
2.13.
commingled, you mean single stream.
I mean, the single stream, it's
Yeah.
commingled, the
Okay.
single stream recycling and MSW pickup at curbside stays in this budget at the 2.13% increase.
So I'm not being argumentative, I'm trying to understand.
Mhm.
That actually had a very passionate response from the townsfolk.
Both
However,
ways.
what?
Both ways.
Yes, of course. So, we're not really, we're gonna proceed, you're recommending to proceed with it because you feel like even if we just delayed for a year, we would have the same problem in a year when.
We
Like, what's
cannot,
your thoughts on
we
it?
cannot delay for a year.
It's on that.
The contract with RWS is up June 30th. Okay, JR made it clear that even if he were to do just an MSW only pickup, it would change. It would not be the way the town is currently used to.
It'd still be
You
pails.
would
It'd
have,
still
you
be-
would
Oh,
have
no, I
buckets, you
completely-
would
I
have
know
the
that.
pails.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, you would have the pails.
Oh, you're saying we would have to buy the pails?
You don't buy them.
No.
That's part of the contract.
It's part of the contract. It's built,
Yeah.
it's built, it's
Yeah.
built into the cost of the
No,
contract.
I
The
understand.
cost is built into
It's not free, of course. So,
into the
yeah.
contract.
So he
yes.
would not honor the existing arrangement just at a different tipping fee or anything like that?
No. He is not responsible, he is not responsible for the tipping fee on MSW, the town is.
So he would not honor the existing contract with? No, okay.
The existing contract expires and it cannot, there is no extension clause in the contract.
No, I understand contractually we got nothing.
Mhm.
Wondering if he'd be willing to negotiate just a 1-year extension of something, everything's negotiable, so just.
I think basically what we have is a major policy decision for the town, knowing that we're not in compliance, having been put on notice by DEEP that we are not in compliance. And to just say, well, tough, we don't want to pay for it to be in compliance. I think we run some serious risks there of it ending up costing us more than compliance would have to not comply. That's my personal opinion. But I think it would be an incredibly bad choice for the town to blatantly say, we do not wish to comply and we know we're not going to comply. So we actually came up with the other compliant alternative. There is one other compliant alternative.
Which is no garbage pickup.
Take it all.
Take it all out.
Take it all out and
Yeah, no one spoke in favor of that. No,
no,
yeah.
no.
No one.
no.
I don't
but
know how
you
many
can't
haulers that
have
will come up to
just
Bethany.
that.
Yeah, I went on some sites and they didn't even have Bethany listed as a town they would go
But
to,
in
so.
that, like,
How can we just,
what, would we set up, dumpsters for people to drop off their garbage at the recycle center, right? In that circumstance?
Oh, you mean
Like a transfer station?
transfer
Yeah,
station?
yeah, we'd have to create someplace for people to bring.
And that would,
Prospect doesn't
and that
have
would cost,
anything.
that would be an
Yeah.
expense, that would be an additional.
Some towns do and some
Yeah.
don't.
You don't have to. Prospect has nothing.
You just have private contractors. It would be,
I think that option would be viable to some residents. If there were a transfer station or they could
if there
bring-
were a transfer station,
That's another cost.
yes, then we have
That's-
significant
But
capital.
we're talking about dumpsters, you know what I mean, like,
Well, no, because when you've got
And a
a,
whole town's worth of trash.
not when you've got trash and garbage. No, what people currently put in there. In their trash, no, I don't think so. But anyway, without that, on the assumption we go without anything, without any pickup. What did?
What does that do? It's a negative effect on the budget. The budget goes down 0.07%.
If we don't pick up recycling and we don't pick up the trash. Among other things, I don't think we could add in this budget cycle a transfer station because nobody asked us to add it.
We don't know what the expense would be.
There will be infrastructure costs in converting the recycling center to to a full-fledged transfer station. Because it is more than just having a couple dumpsters for the trash.
yeah, I mean, everyone on these emails is saying that
Well,
they're all
if you,
talking about it, you know? so-
actually, if you look, you would see that with the exception of two of them, they're all the same, it's cut and
Yes,
paste.
Just different names,
Okay.
same address, same name.
All right. That happens a lot, though.
Yes, but they're not independent comments.
But it was, I mean, it was talked about a lot.
Yeah,
So for us to.
But that
not-
was not, it was kind of just, no, we don't want to do it.
I know.
I mean,
This
it is
becomes a 5-year contract.
correct.
Okay, and there was a second bidder, but they were late.
Correct.
They,
then
and
they're not a
and they
bid.
never turned in a bid.
Because Don told them no.
Because they were late.
No.
No,
Right, they
They
were late.
called 10
But
minutes
we have no,
after.
so now we're gonna be locked into a price for 5 years, when there might in fact be someone else out there that might do the same or better.
This
Well,
bid
they
was
did-
put out far enough in advance for these people to do their due diligence to get it in on time. They knew the deadlines, they knew when it was not a surprise. For them to call 10 minutes after the bid opening, they clearly knew when the bid opening was.
Mhm.
So that was not a surprise. They called 10 minutes after the bid opening. It's not like they called 3 days later and said, oh, by the way. They called 10 minutes after.
And
And then spread a rumor all through town.
But we would
Nice.
have been once the bid. Once you open the bids, that's
That's
it.
it, yeah.
And I
Because if
get,
you-
I get that, but 5 years is a long time.
But we can't change what they didn't do.
I didn't say we could, I'm
Yeah.
saying 5 years is a long time.
The last one was 5 years.
so,
I don't know. I don't know that's what he offered.
But
Last-
we lock in too. So
last month, we wrestled with throwing out the bid that we had, going out and rebidding. And the consensus last month was, we may still only get one bid, and it may be even higher than what we have right now.
Right, because,
because now they know.
yeah, they're saying,
Yeah.
oh, good, you're trying to, I'll just give a higher bid now.
Yeah.
I think all.
And
still have territories.
one of the, one of the comments that was made last week at the budget hearing was made by Bruce Loomis. And he stated that several years ago, when we had looked at the possibility of single stream and we had gone out to bid, and there was a company out there that was all excited about doing this and never submitted a bid proposal. Guess what? It's the same company again.
When I
They
did,
called 10 minutes after the bid opening. Is it too late to submit one?
when I did it.
So
Yeah.
the company itself has has a pattern, a reputation of of knowing and not following through.
When I did the bid 3 years ago, I had 4 companies inquire. And I got 1 bid.
And there were 5 this time with 1 bid, right?
I'm not,
thought
I'm
that
not
was
sure how
5
many
and
there
4.
were. this
I'm
time.
not, I
Don
don't,
Kind of. was-
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought that's what they said.
I only know of 2, but there could have been more, because I didn't handle that, I just.
Yeah.
Um,
and there was the question at the hearing last week about what people would do with their old cans. And actually JR reached out to me the next day and said he would make arrangements to possibly be up at recycling, and at no expense to the town, he would collect people's old cans or pails, whatever you want to call them. That would be replaced with the ones that would need to be used.
That's very nice.
So,
I wouldn't mind having a couple of those to store stuff in.
I put my
Yeah.
empty pots
You
and all.
know, they've got wheels on them, they're big.
So,
Anyway,
I think that person was just trying to prove a point. I don't.
Yeah.
with first,
The person who spoke about the turning in of the old ones.
Oh,
I think maybe
oh, yeah.
because, you know, they spend money on these, on their own bins. And I don't think it was about like,
some people may have newer cans, some people may have older cans that they would be happy to get rid of.
some people
know,
just have
so-
bags. Yes, I mean, it's, well, there's no regulation, there's no standardization right now, so.
Yeah.
And that would happen.
Yeah.
So. Do you want to go through the capital? Because there were a couple of small changes, other besides Round Hill Road. Actually, I requested that we put Round Hill Road in there as a capital project with no money. And the reason that I would like to see it as a project without an unfunded project being approved is so that if we do get a grant, we
you
can
don't
do
have
the
to
work.
town meeting. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Because otherwise we'll start missing deadlines.
I think the town would support that. I think they would.
So,
Mhm.
but
It's a good idea too. The one thing I want to mention about this historical society thing,
mhm,
I think it should be a one-time only, and then they gotta find alternate sources of fundraising. I don't want it to be something perpetual that we keep giving them money and then they ask for an increase and we
Well-
keep giving them money. So they have 1 year of free funding paid for by the town. This is my proposal, and then afterwards, they've got to spend that 1 year of free money to find an alternate fundraising source.
they used to get state money, and then that was pulled back. So that's why they started relying more on their cans and their bottles. But I think with the 10 cents a piece, more people are returning their own bottles to the store, so that's limiting their revenue to some degree.
And this is
Oh.
more than the revenue that they get currently from cans. They get approximately $6,000 an hour, then they ask for 10. So
the 10,000
small money compared to our budget.
came out of other lines, just for what it's worth. It came out of other lines. It was not additive.
But it's still something that could have been out of the budget. It's just my ask. And if we're cutting money for Harvest Festival, maybe they can volunteer some of their time for the Harvest Festival. if they're not
That's
doing cans.
reducing the required revenues, isn't it?
Just increasing the revenue.
So we're giving them a mandate, okay.
There should be an increase to the revenue.
Oh, yes,
Mhm.
so it's,
They do.
it's not clear whether there are, which things are income, which are expenses.
The incomes are first. Medical insurance is where,
Oh, we should, can you explain?
okay, yes,
This. the
Med-
medical insurance?
yes, there
That
is.
requires action anyway.
It does. Um.
It's another
What-
compliance issue.
Well, when we met with our insurance brokers, they presented a 9.4% increase in premiums. However, well, that's what the Board of Ed received, a 9.4% increase in premiums. The town did not. The town received a 2.4% increase in premiums because our current deductible on our high deductible healthcare plan is 1,500, 3,000, which is no longer considered high deductible. The federal government will no longer acknowledge that. So we chose to take a 2.4% increase in the cost of the insurance and slide the deductible from 15,300 to 2,000, 4,000.
Which we fund at.
Which and the town funds the HSA at 80%. And even with that, it is less money for us for the health insurance for next year than it would have been, given the increase that they hit us with. Because we looked at all the employees, who is on, who could be on, and we calculated out what it's going to cost, the employee cost for the insurance, because the premium goes down significantly as you raise the deductible. So we realized some savings there, and even funding and even keeping the HSA funding where it is now, we still have we have a very little. I mean, our health insurance line looks really, really good as far as what we're spending this year versus what we're going to spend next year, compared to what a lot of other towns are looking at. A lot of health insurance that went out to market, went out for bid, went out for new quotes for next year. Most people are looking at anywhere from an 8 to a 15% increase. And we're able to do this at just 2.4 versus what we paid this past year. And a lot of that is because of the shift in the deductible.
Mm. It's a very good benefit for the employees.
It is.
It's nothing like the benefit that I have, you know. Mhm.
You need for us to approve that, right? That change.
I would like you to endorse the change that we're looking to make. Yeah, I think it would be, I think it would be very wise. Because we will need to notify the union that there is a change. And having board approval of it makes it easier to go to them. So it wasn't something arbitrary by any one or two people on staff.
I'll move that.
Want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay,
It's
it is on a copy of a resolution. Did Katie get that one? Or,
It's in the packet?
No,
Nope.
no, oh, there you go, there you go.
oh, no, wait, here's
It's a separate one.
was a separate one. There you go. Sorry.
Okay. Resolve that the Board of Finance endorses the Finance Office recommendation of changing the medical insurance deductible from 1,500 to 3,000 to 2,000, 4,000, beginning fiscal year 24-25. The change is necessary as the current deductible no longer meets federal government guidelines for high deductible health insurance plans. The town contribution to the HSA will remain at the current rate of 80%. Yeah, I'll move that.
Okay.
So,
Further discussion? All in favor?
Right.
Okay. right. You have another one?
Well, all the other, resolutions that I have are in regards to capital projects. Which is all wrapped up within the budget, so the question is, how much are we?
Well,
Looking-
here's, let me suggest that we run through the changes, the proposed changes in capital, decide whether we want to do them or not, because they're gonna impact the overall budget.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everybody? I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll
Well,
have to do that.
the change made to capital was to the original capital. The only change made to the capital budget was to remove Round Hill Road, which makes the overall appropriation $712,284, which is a decrease of 4.76% from this year.
I thought we were changing. Not. Changing the appropriations and something was going to. Come from capital reserve, we reclassified a couple of them.
There's some new language and reclassification on some of it. Yes. But most of the projects remain the same. I mean, the major change comes in that would be the second resolution under the capital projects. Would be that the Board of Finance recommends the expenditure of up to $500,000 for the purchase of a new ambulance and equipment for the Bethany Volunteer Ambulance to be funded with a capital budget appropriation of $125,000 in fiscal year 25 and fiscal year 26, and the balance from the unallocated capital reserve, and forward the said project to the annual town meeting for approval. And the other, and then we, grouped some items together, with the Public Works Department. It would be $120,000 from the unallocated capital reserve for the purchase of the mower, the debris blower for the existing roadside mower, a flatbed truck body for an existing truck, and $83,064 as the final payment for the 12-yard dump truck to allow for the cash purchase of the vehicle. But there is a capital appropriation of $112,000 for the second installment.
There's a tax appropriation for the what now?
The dump truck.
Yep.
Last year, we originally approved the purchase with 3 installments of $112,284. That will not be enough money to buy that truck unless we buy it as a cash purchase. And that would decrease the third payment from the $112,284 to what I'm suggesting take out of the capital reserve at $83,064. And buy the truck outright. Because the cash price for the truck is about $308,000. When we built the budget last year, the financing put the truck at $336,000. When we ordered the truck after the town meeting, the financing put that truck at $357,000.
So in those few months, you're saying. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because, and right now, we're not seeing a decrease in interest rates on financing, so if we were to finance that truck when it comes in, we would have to be signing an agreement at probably at closer to that 8% as opposed to the, I think, 4.5% on the original offer. So that's a big difference. That alone is $21,000 in 3 months' time on that, from the time we originally budgeted to when we could order the truck.
What do we have in the, capital reserve now?
If you, that would be in, the large packet, Katie. We approved, closeout transfers. It looked on a page that looks like this.
Actually. Sure.
I'll give it right back.
I think this is just when we came in, so we had just finished going over this. so. Remember that. No, that- no,
No,
no.
it's, no, it's in the budget, it's in the transfers that we had done.
Like that,
On this-
okay. Gotcha.
What we did, copy and change the capital reserve. Perfect.
It's in.
It's
the
in-
packet.
It's in the packet.
What we
Okay.
did,
Here, the end.
there was a motion to close out all the completed ones. It was, what's the amount? down
It's,
at the bottom?
it's on there.
Yeah. The proposed capital reserve.
The proposed changes are over
36.
236,
That's the new dollar amount going into the capital reserve.
from closed out to and changed projects.
That's what's going into it?
Mhm.
Yes, from zeroing out all the things that are done and with funds that had not been. Had not been used.
So our proposal this year would be taking about 170 out of it.
Which is approximately the BVFD communication system?
Mhm.
Is that a project that we never put forward or?
That was a project that's been complete and it was never closed out. I had a long conversation with Rich for everything that's labeled fire department on there.
A lot of things were correctly appropriated. And transfer the capital reserve, but then they weren't paid out of the capital reserve, and consequently, we end up with all this extra. But it's very convenient that we have it available.
I'm dating fast.
I hear you.
I think that if we make these adjustments to the budget and utilize that little bit more of the capital reserve, then we're doing the things we need to do. We really have to approve the ambulance, or there's never going to be an ambulance. That's just the way it works, is you have to, you have to approve it first.
There's no grant money that we use for that.
Yeah, the first one was all ARPA,
Right.
and we do have, wasn't there one piece of it that was still ARPA?
How did that was happening?
No, that's from the capital reserve.
No,
No, that's
well, no, everything on the first,
First year is.
everything on that ambulance that we took possession of about 10 months ago was paid for out of ARPA. And the proposal for the new one is to ask for a capital appropriation through taxes for half of it and take the other half out of the capital reserve.
So then
And
we won't-
splitting that half into 2 years, so only asking for 1/4 of the appropriation this year, 1/4 of the appropriation next year. And paying for the balance out of the capital reserve, which, when it comes in, will be anywhere from 20, right now, it's anywhere from 24 to 30 months after the order is placed. That's how long it is taking for them to come in. And there are some other towns that had to wait 3.5 years for ambulances when they ordered them. So we got lucky at 2 years for the one we ordered.
So this revised budget, thank you for putting it together. Where does it, you know, how before of the town budget, before education was 11%, what did you say that it?
Yes, it was there. Where is it now?
Yes,
Okay, the town, the municipal portion now?
Yeah.
Is at 5.1.
Oh, it's 2.13.
But overall, it is
The Sandy's
2.13.
going down, Sandy's going up. yeah.
Yes, because it's a 3.84 reduction in Amity. Because of the change we made last year to only appropriate what is needed.
Well, what we were
So
gonna-
we take our share that Amity tells us minus whatever,
They're still holding.
whatever negative we get to take in the previous, in March, which is the surplus from the prior year.
So if they're, unless they come up with a really big, surplus this year, and this, I mean, April is when you start seeing the surplus grow. Unless we get another one of those, which honestly, it's not looking like, because they've had a lot of, medical, and insurance issues. But, that's going to catch up because we haven't been appropriating for money we weren't going to have to give them. So that's probably gonna catch up next year.
Yeah.
Next year just starts out of the gate, not looking good. It's just like. Things are conspiring against us. And, thoughts on the level and the changes in response to the budget hearing comments.
I do have a thought. I remember, one resident mentioned that she suggested a paper ballot or some sort of an anonymous system. I think it's a good idea.
Are you suggesting that for each of the capital items?
I hadn't thought it entirely through when I made the suggestion, and I wasn't. I was just saying a vote for the full budget. I don't think the capital items will make or break the budget from a resident's perspective, based on what I've heard.
I don't think so now that Roundtree is,
Round Hill, I agree.
Round Hill
I
is
agree.
taken out.
You think a
Money
paper ballot
wise.
would not be necessary then, because one of the hot topics was taken out?
I know,
I mean, because these are pretty, I
No,
mean,
for
these are pretty
capital.
straightforward items.
total budget, I'm just saying, because one of the choices is to approve the entire budget, right? That's,
Not until after all the capital items are dealt with, because the capital items would, if any of them
yeah.
are not funded, then individually they would reduce the overall budget.
So. Just refresh my memory because I forgot. We vote on. The budget first? No, we vote on the capital first.
item,
First.
And then we vote on the whole thing. So why can't we have a paper ballot for the whole thing?
just for expediency, because people are, like. What's that?
Point of order, I think it's a moderator question. It's a town meeting question, not a board of finance question about. whether to pick a ballot or not.
It's true, I'm making a
Yeah.
suggestion.
That's
Yeah.
true, but we can plan for it.
Yeah.
I
We could
don't-
propose it as well.
Yeah.
And people could request a referendum.
Yes.
Right,
That's
and I
probably
think,
off the table with Round Hill Road going in.
Yeah, I would think.
I think, Whatever.
Is this the way the resolutions are gonna be put in?
similarly to that.
Because, and I'm just being
Yeah, I know where you're going.
You know, everything is a one item thing except for that chunk for the
The
public
little,
works.
the little things for public works.
Where if somebody decides debris blower, don't need that, there goes everything.
Well,
No,
they
they
could
can-
be listed individually. They could be listed individually.
But I'm saying, if
Please
this
no.
is the resolution, that's what you're voting on, that resolution.
No,
All or nothing.
as soon as the motion has been made, people can then move
Ask to
to amend
separate
it.
it.
They can move to amend it. I suggested putting them together just to make it a shorter meeting. Because these are small items and they're coming out of capital reserve. They're not appropriations.
You know, it was
You know,
just,
that's.
just a question.
Okay, but to Sally's point, last year they were individual items on the town meeting call.
All of them
And there was a motion from the floor
to combine.
them for expediency.
So,
Yeah.
Can't wait.
yeah, it's.
I agree.
Well, then you combine them, and if somebody doesn't like them combined, they can ask us.
Or if there's one they don't like, they can ask that it be deleted. And then we could have a vote on that amendment, and I wonder who's gonna moderate this meeting.
Are there any limitations on who can do it?
Not that I'm
I don't
aware
think
of.
so, I think it's probably not advisable for them.
Can we make them use a microphone? Their voice, whoever they think they are, is not loud enough without a microphone. Is that like a require, can we require, and they're like, oh, no, you guys can hear me, we
No.
can hear you. So
Well, you
put
know
them
what,
on.
just do the same thing that I said and enforced at the hearing, and you may not talk unless you come up here and write it down, because you need to write it down and you need to say it, and then, of course, I don't know, for some reason, I don't work well with microphones, but, but everybody got on the record and, you
It
know,
worked out well.
and it worked. And it's just that people just start yelling from the floor, but, you know,
It was such a small turnout.
it was impressive.
Passionate, solid waste enthusiasts.
Well, people either did or didn't.
or unenthusiasts.
Yeah. I'm not personally a fan of single stream recycling, but I don't see that we have a choice. It's too late, I guess, to do anything about it. Well, I don't, that's my personal opinion.
I will say this, I've worked in procurement and I've worked in government procurement when I was working at Sikorsky. A seal bid is a big deal,
Mhm,
but a bigger deal is a solo bid.
mhm.
Is a what?
But it,
It's an individual bid.
but it wasn't invited that way. I mean, it
I
was.
totally understand, it would be a bigger deal. To have just one, there's no competitive, you can't, hard to do pricing, it would be a bigger deal. I understand the constraints of Bethany, and I'm not like,
Well, no, I'm just saying, we let people know, we advertise
I
it,
understand.
but
We
we
would
can't
have
control who
reopened the bid.
responds.
We
you
would
know.
have reopened the bid, we would have found that. was better.
But if you reopen the bid, the chance that,
It's gonna be, you know,
I
higher.
totally understand.
and that would be really silly.
Mhm.
Or we get one bid again and it's higher. Egg on our face.
It doesn't matter which way we go, it's our fault. So it's, you know,
That's right, exactly.
it doesn't, it's.
Just take the lower bid and move on.
The only bid. you might-
The only- well,
The only people that are willing.
They bid
to
on
do it.
all three options, though.
Yeah,
They did. It's just really a question of, is it a responsible thing to even accept a proposal that makes us out of compliance with the state?
So are we ready to move on the budget?
If you are ready to move on. Are you ready?
Well, I think we're just going around in circles, so
Yes,
yeah.
well, at this
Yeah.
point, what we've done is, we've discussed all the changes. We have the list of the changes. We've discussed the individual capital items and changes in the capital budget. We've hashed around the recycle thing as well as Round Hill. Is there anything else that we need? Is there anything we really haven't dealt with?
I mean, what about the reviewing of the amount of headcount we have, particularly with Public Works or any other? You're not proposing cutting any headcount in this revised proposal?
No, we are not. Public Works union contract calls for a road foreman and 6 crew members. That is what we have at the moment. What I
That's what
did.
the contract calls for?
Mhm.
Crew members?
Yep.
Well, before we had the garage guy. so
Well, I mean, it's
6 headcount.
We don't have a mechanic.
it's 6
Yeah.
and it's 6 plus a foreman.
Mhm.
So it's a collective bargaining unit of 7 people to handle DPW.
Mhm.
I did do a 3-year overtime analysis, and that's why we took $25,000 out of that line.
And hopefully it doesn't snow or not next year.
The salt and sand budget was reviewed. 70% of that line is used for the purchase of salt and sand. The balance is used for private contractors that we need to hire in addition to the DPW crew for various parking lots, sidewalks. Or if there is any major maintenance to the trucks that is specific for snow plowing, i.e. new plows. That is what that line item is used for.
Okay. Do a quick flip through.
You need to vote on any of these other ones, Cheryl?
What?
You need to vote on any of these other capital projects that Leslie put together, because of the capital projects, the capital projects.
No, we did not vote on any of them yet.
Oh,
Okay, we did not vote on any of
We
them.
just talked about them. All right,
We talked about them.
then go for it.
All right, there's a lot of them here.
Can we vote on them all?
If you take the time to read them all, we can vote them, we can do them all in mass if you would like.
I have to read them all, like aloud?
Would you want me to?
Well, no, you don't have to read them all
Oh, I've
aloud,
read them all
but if you have read them
I'm
all.
not the last page.
If everyone has at least read everyone on the 2-page,
And
on
we-
the 4
and we
pages,
have discussed what.
and we have discussed that as long as everyone has read
Knows
them
what they're gonna vote.
and knows what you're voting on, then yes.
I
They
think
can
we
be
need to add language to Round Hill though on the last page to clarify. Be funded by grant money or something.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, does it say with no appropriation?
There, it just states that we authorize the repair and pavement of Round Hill Road and forward said project to the annual town meeting for approval.
Okay,
It says nothing about appropriation.
okay. I
So
think
after,
that
So-
when we get to the drafting a motion for the town meeting, it should say with no appropriation pending grant application.
that
So-
one.
Okay,
Yeah,
How does that sound? Does that sound good?
okay.
the Round Hill Road.
Mhm. Because we really do not want to have to call an emergency town meeting to approve it if we
Right.
get.
Right.
No, I think it's a good idea.
Are we good on the
And
rest
we
of it?
did look back at last year's town meeting. We had approval to apply for the trip grant, but we never approved the actual project. We just
To
approved
apply for it.
to apply for the grant.
You have to approve to apply for.
No, we don't have to. We just, again, wanted to have it ready to go. Oh, we were ready.
It was on the wording though, Katie.
It's because they hadn't come out yet with the details.
The dollar amount in there is the revised dollar amount on,
The revised budget.
yes, it is the revised budget dollar amount at 26,841,297.
Oh, I thought.
No, that's the last
On the
one.
On the
I'm
last
sorry.
one.
That's the last,
capital one.
no, that's the last resolution.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Were you going to move?
Yes, I
All of
move
those?
that we send these resolutions to the annual meeting.
Okay, I think we sent it to the selectmen.
To the
for the
selectmen.
announcement,
To
for
be
the-
reviewed and approved for the town.
No, they don't review and approve, they just
Recommended to.
put them on the agenda.
Got it.
Let's do that.
So when I have my special meeting, I gotta add all of these to it.
Mhm.
I second.
Okay, are we ready to go on this? All in favor? Okay. And do we have any other actual items? I don't recall. The public
Yeah,
hearing.
There is one capital project that is not on that list. Oh, actually, it is.
I thought
It was the first one,
Yeah.
the cruiser for the
Mhm.
police department.
Yeah.
And-
61 grand, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is not a capital appropriation. It is not.
Mhm.
Us, it is being funded out of the special duty fund. I just, and there,
And that
this
was-
packet had a copy of the quote
Yes,
for
Yeah,
it.
I saw that,
okay,
yeah.
and the motion says to be paid from the
Yes, it does.
special. duty fund. Wanted to be clear that although we need, people need to approve, the town meeting needs to approve because of the dollar amount, that there will not be an appropriation. Right, what else? That actually has to come before the meeting? Is there? I really don't have anything that I want to keep you here for, Paula.
Oh, I do have to do that.
Yes, I just
Oh,
wanted to
thank you,
make sure
Paula, for
you're-
reminding me.
You're welcome.
The RFP was, this proposal submissions were due yesterday for the auditor RFP. I got none. So what is the feeling of this body?
Republish?
Again.
Yeah, I think so.
And it does not surprise me. I had a conversation with an auditor in another town and she informed me that she gets phone calls all the time. I put out an RFP and no one responded, no one answered. And she lost nothing, so she could not respond to ours.
What do you mean she lost nothing?
nothing?
She
As far as
already, as
clients.
far as clients, nothing came off her plate. That is why she did not submit a proposal to do ours.
Okay.
What about Scrog? Can they support it?
I am going, that's the next round. I'm going to go there. So
They
you,
have an auditor. So maybe should reach out to them and see if they.
And what the state, government accountants. Group.
there's a large swath of the state that uses Bloom Shapiro.
Yeah.
Which is now CLA. They did not even respond. And I know several of the auditors at CLA. I used to work with them. And they did not respond.
Give them a call.
And so. So we just want to republish? What did you say?
We have to change our auditor.
Yeah.
I think it would be in the best interest of the town to change the auditor.
Well, you're supposed to do it every 3 years. And
You
we
should.
got our 3 years. Okay. We can, well, we obviously need to find a way to solicit some responses. Is it that we're too small?
I do not know the reason.
Can you
They're too
bundle your
busy.
service with another? Can we talk to Woodbridge and go out together? Can that be something that we do or?
I mean, the work involved in an audit is going to be the same regardless of the size of the town.
Mhm.
I mean, you still have to go through,
Line items.
you still have to go through everything. The cost is not significantly more
Mhm.
for a town with a budget 4 times our size as it is for us, because you still have to do everything. And
our stuff is organized now.
I was just thinking that maybe if we had.
and the
more work
other,
for them, it
the
might
other
be-
piece that, it's not that it makes it hard. But they're not only auditing just the town's books, they have to do the schools as well, the elementary school.
Mhm.
It's a bundle.
Yeah, well, because they're.
And, you know, if a town has a regional school system only, it's just your monthly payments to the school. You don't have to worry about all the grant money that comes in for the school, where they have to audit all the grant money for the school as well as our books. And that auditing the grants is the time-consuming part of the audit
For the school,
for the schools, yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Sorry, Leslie.
all right. That should be on our agenda again
Okay,
next month, that absolutely positively a grant committee. And not because I think that we should start the impetus, but we should think about what we would recommend for the tasks for that committee that would help us.
Maybe the Economic Development Committee could also think about grants as well, you know?
They can, they should be able to participate, but I think that what we're looking for is something to make recommendations to us, which just means that we should start out with what expectations we might have. And then ask for people willing to serve and be creative and do lots of stuff. How's that for being technical?
I forgot 2 items, sorry.
That's me.
You know, when Katie said economic development, that's where the light bulb came on. Steve Winters came to me, the EDC is looking for funding for a freestanding, well, it would not be mobile, it would be attached somewhere, a bike repair kit,
Station,
a
yeah.
bike repair station.
Has a pump on it and tools for them to fix their.
It's
chains or
about
whatever.
$2,500. And the hope is that it would not have to come out of the EDC budget for this year. The question was, is it ARPA eligible
Yes.
Mhm.
as, you know, recreational?
It is.
Safety.
ARPA, perfect.
How fast can they move?
Putting-
Probably real fast.
Well, they have to get permission to put it somewhere.
They
Well,
were
we've
thinking near the BAA, over near the BAA field with Billy's, somewhere over there,
But
because
that will have to be a conversation with the BAA because the BAA leases that property from the town.
So it's also
So-
a conversation with the town.
So.
I know a couple people in town, so.
I know a couple of people on the BAA, so we got it covered.
Yeah, so
What's the idea behind it? I mean, I think it's great. I mean,
just to
People
have it
have their
available
votes
for the people that go through, and maybe, Jamie, you're on EDC?
Yeah.
Sharon, were you at the meeting when it was discussed? Okay, so one of you need to enlighten the rest of us.
Jamie can tell you about it.
The thought is to encourage bicyclists, bicycle clubs to to create a pathway through Bethany. We hope that they'll stop in at the restaurants, other attractions, so we're trying to attract them. We're also planning to approach cycle shops to see if they want to sponsor part of it, put a plaque on it, so we can get some private money. But they have them on hand in a bike trip, and you know, if your bicycle is low tire, you can make a point to stop there and fill up. Simple tools on a chain so they don't disappear. That's just a very simple way to start getting Bethany on the map for recreation.
What do we have to do?
They have to submit an ARPA request to us, and then
We're meeting tomorrow night,
I am aware.
when we have a quorum, and Sharon won't be able to. It's 9.
I'll be
but
gone.
We'll make that point to, bring it back to Steve.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Okay, so that would go on next month.
all right. The second item that I almost forgot is Don approached by a gentleman who is looking to do an Eagle Scout project. The individual wants to know if the town would be able to help fund the materials that they need. It is to do work on on the rings at the horse rings on the airport property. It would be new boards for the rings, some caps for the posts, paint brushes. It would be about, I think it was priced out at around $2,300.
The Eagle Scout, I reminded Don that the Eagle Scout needs to come to the Board of Selectmen to get approval of his project. He has not done that yet. So,
Where's the money gonna come from?
Well, that's,
The thing is that they get approval for the projects. This is the first time that somebody's mentioned the money first. Sometimes they wait till they're done and then ask for the money. I mean, they have budgets for their projects, but they don't say, and we want you to fund it.
well, like I say, he has not come yet. I don't know on some of the couple of the other Eagle Scout projects. I know sometimes they go out and get sponsors
Hmm.
or, you
But
know,
in the
donations
last-
or whatever.
I don't
But
know,
I
7
don't
or 8
remember the
years,
Scout
they-
program, so.
anything on town property, they've come back afterwards and asked to have it paid for. I have no, like, I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. I'm saying, where is it in the budget?
it isn't.
It'd be contingent.
Yeah,
I mean,
it could ARPA.
Would it qualify for ARPA since it's,
Outdoor activity,
I don't know,
I don't know, I'm just.
I mean, or is it contingency?
I had to fund I had to come up with funds and raise my own funds.
I like.
Me and my brothers, and we did it 3 times.
See, that's what I always thought. I always thought they had a, you know,
You gotta go out. and do-
you had a crowdsource to find the money. Is what I always thought.
Or you gotta go solicit it yourself,
So
private companies.
here's a legitimate question.
See, he can't,
What
he
are they
shouldn't present it
driving?
until he does have
You
a
have a
way
bake
of funding.
sale. You
But
gotta borrow.
usually you never ask for funds.
Yeah, that's.
I've never heard of
kinda
that, and
odd.
I've sat in a lot of legal boards.
Can I make a suggestion that economic development might want to be a partner with this Eagle Scout in part of the question that I would have before wanting to put any money towards this project is, what is it that we think this is going to accomplish for the town?
Well, Don just told this to me last week.
Yeah,
So
I know.
so
No,
apparently
I'm-
somebody reached out to him before.
I'm aware of
So,
it, I'm just saying that there should be something.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually. Is this what we want to spend our money on, you know, like?
Have we
Maybe-
funded any in the last couple of years?
Yes, we're funding him doing things, or a different Eagle Scout, doing things to the
Stand.
old secretary's stand.
The old what?
Oh, well,
Between the
now
horse
it's a
ring.
storage, it's a storage shed now. The announcer stand.
Didn't he finish that? Cause I think he was turning 18, which means.
They're pretty strict.
18, you're done.
You're done.
You're not 18 in a day, 18.
That was last year.
And I know his birthday was in September, so if he's not done,
Oh,
don't
well,
worry
I
about
thought
the
it was
money.
being done during this past year.
Don't know.
Well,
We'll
I
have to
don't
check
know.
with Don. Don was
Time-
never seen that.
Time
so.
flies, things run together after a while. But I think that that's an important consideration, and if he had the endorsement of the Economic Development Committee, that would be helpful.
We'll teach them how to raise money.
There you go.
Maybe he can teach economic development how to raise
I
money.
was gonna make a joke about that, but I'm not doing it.
No, we gave them money and they didn't even spend it.
Well, it's work that needs to be done.
Okay.
Because according to.
Are we finished tonight?
Well,
Because believe me, we're all 3/4 of the way out the door.
okay, well, I'm just, I mean, I can give you a real quick synopsis. I have items going to the town meeting as well on the call, so. discontinuance of some roads. I'm waiting from John Paul Garcia for the survey for the end of Miller Road. Because apparently Season Falls, the project was revised at their end, whatever that developer is doing, and he does not indicate that he needs to or wants access to Miller Road. So I figured this was our opportunity at this time to survey it, and instead of school buses having to pull in private driveways to turn around, we can make it a appropriate cul-de-sac or whatever, so that the bus can make the appropriate turn. We are on hold with a number of properties, Russell Road, Simpson, still waiting to hear on the final deal with the solar. So several things are in limbo, but several things, other items are going to be going forward for the town for approval at the annual town meeting as well. So that's a quick synopsis.
All right.
If I
Thank
missed
you.
something, I apologize, but I know everybody's kind of done.
We're wrong out. It's been a long several months.
Yes,
Uh,
in the home stretch.
mhm. Okay, just because we have a couple of minutes and only if you are extremely brief, Mr. Britton and Mr. Sterling, if you have a comment or question.
I think you did a good job listening to the community and making revisions to the proposed budget.
Thank you.
Is
By
there
the
a
way-
but?
I wish we could press our current vendor for a 1-year extension so that the community could review the recycling project. But 5 years goes by pretty quickly too.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Meanwhile, did anyone notice the potential mill rate?
I saw it.
Mhm.
I did. You know, every time it gets better, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
it's,
2 months ago, he was saying, can't we
When you
get?
first started talking about it, Leslie would say, well, we're not gonna get the seat, when he said, oh, we may still get it, we may be over, 33, I'm like, you better, with the
We thought we were
reval, you
gonna-
better not be over 33.
Yeah.
No, we were thinking.
I knew we would be under
Yeah,
the
we-
cap for the motor
For the motor
vehicles.
Yeah, we knew, we were- yeah,
I just wasn't sure how close to 30 we were going to get, and
and we got further.
And lo and
we got
behold,
further.
So of a lower mill rate and possible pickup of recycling right at our door. Win-win.
Okay, that motion, okay, I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, all in favor? Thank you all very much, and thank you, gentlemen, for your patience.